Welcome to the Songwriters Across Texas podcast. This state has a lot to offer, and music is one of its greatest exports. On this podcast, we get to know songwriters through their stories and hear some of their music. Today, we're at Arlyn Studios, and my guest is Kendall Beard. I'm Karl Anderson, and this is the Songwriters Across Texas podcast. She was raised in Lufkin in East Texas into a family of around-the-house singers. One day early on, she saw an older girl sing for a crowd and get huge applause, and she wanted that. Her family was more than encouraging. Her father not only got her singing lessons, but sent tapes to Texas country opry houses and rodeos. She got hired playing for big crowds, and they started making connections. Those connections opened the door to the record business, where she was selected as part of a 3-girl band and a major label development deal. She spent years in Philadelphia, grinding, grooming, working day and night, and just when it was about to get underway, Napster and the internet lopsided the music industry. It was never released. Then it was American Idol. She was great. She traveled, auditioned, survived round after round, and left the show as a finalist. The deal with the devil in the music competition television world is that your career is locked up for a full year after the final episode. This left Kendall on a long hiatus. During that time, she connected with Austin's own AJ Vallejo. However, the two wrote a song together, which they thought would be a one-off, but their partnership blossomed into the high-energy, soulful, and critically acclaimed band Love and Chaos. She's got 2 solo albums. AJ's here with her today. It's my pleasure to introduce Kendall Beard. Hey, guys.
Hey, how are you?
Nice to see you. Good to see you, AJ.
Yeah.
Hi, Kendall.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Thanks so much for being here. What are you guys going to start us off with?
A little song called Landmines. Okay. Catching my breath, you finally rest, but they shout my name like I'm to blame for all this mess. The smoke is cleared. My eyes have dried, but I can't find peace, 'cause I know it's only a matter of time. I'll be walking through the landmines, trying to get to you. Through the landmines, why you wanna put me through? I hold my breath with every step, acting brave, but I'm scared to death. Through the landmines, through landmines, but for now we're safe in this world we made. But this glass house is fragile as the steps we take. Careful, don't start the fire, don't trip the wire. One mistake, yeah, it's all it takes, and it'll blow up in the face. Walking through the landmines, trying to get to you. Acting brave, and I'm scared to death. Through the landmines, walking through the landmines. Suddenly you're killing me, in too deep to up and leave. So I surrender, 'cause it's do or die. It's the only way to end this fight. I'll be walking through the landmines, trying to get to you. Through the landmines, why you wanna put me through? I hold my breath with every step, acting brave, but I'm scared to death. Through the landmines, walking through the landmines. Through the landmines, walking through the landmines. Through the landmines, walking through the landmines.
Yeah. Yes, voices sound so nice together.
Thank you.
Good to see you, Kendall.
Good to see you too. It's been a minute.
It has. You have one of the wildest stories, because you, like, from time you were a little kid, you're like singing in really big rodeos and stuff like that. So And I liked how you said this family, everybody was just singing. So from day one, it was like, I'm singing.
Yeah. Yeah, it was really my mom that would just like sing around the house. We had no professional singers or musicians in my family whatsoever. And my dad is the most tone deaf person you'll ever meet.
That was funny to me, but he's like sing like, I'm going to the shopping mall.
Well, that was really my mom. But my mom would just sing whatever, and I always thought she had a beautiful voice. So.
So you got hers.
Yeah.
You got it from her.
I think so.
But your dad obviously was, there and helping so much. But
absolutely.
Tell me briefly about that little girl you saw singing, or that was older than you, and you went,
Yeah. Well, I mean, at a young age, I just knew I loved to sing, but I didn't really know if my voice was good or not.
Right.
But I remember seeing a friend's older sister sing, and everyone was going crazy about how great her voice was. And I was like, wait, if they consider that she has a good voice, then I probably have a good voice too, and I probably can do what she's doing.
Right.
And so I always just loved entertaining when I was young. And so I asked to get into singing lessons, and I was already dancing. And
right. And so you got into singing lessons, and how did they go?
They went great. I loved them, but at the time it was nothing more than just recitals. But
you're only how old? 4, 5, 6?
I was young.
It just made you feel good to do it more than most things, right?
Correct.
Yeah. So you keep doing it.
I started on piano and I hated it.
Oh yeah? Why?
I don't know. And I wish my dad wanted me on piano, and my mom has a video of me laying on the piano, banging my head, crying, saying, please don't make me practice. Please don't make me practice. I don't know. I just hated it. And it could have been to do with the methods that they taught back then, which was really boring. And, all these classical boring pieces, little kids don't want to be learning that. And, but we hid it. I quit, and we hid it from my dad for 2 years. I quit.
You hid it for 2 years?
And he was so angry when he found out, but then I kind of quickly followed it up with my love for singing. And
this is cool because you were still maybe about 10, is that right? How did your dad know how to put that package together, that portfolio and the tapes and everything?
Well, I kept telling him I wanted to sing, and I wanted to do more than just recitals. And my dance company, I was part of a professional competitive dance team, and we also did performances, and we were at the Houston rodeo, and they had a back-to-back dance routine that they needed something in between, some kind of entertainment in between for a quick costume change. And I was like, can I sing? Can I please sing?
That's so cool.
And okay, yeah. So my dad was there that night, and obviously I just hands it up and went all out. And I think that was the first time anybody realized that there could be something, that I actually did have a voice.
It was a moment where you got a chance to actually get out there in front of people, and you weren't going to blow it.
Right. I wanted to prove that I really could do it.
Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Yeah, I totally remember it. And I remember what I had on. It was terrible. But
you're a little kid, you get a pass.
But after that, on our drive home, which was a couple hours, I said, this is what I want to do, Dad. I want to be a singer. And he said, well, are you sure? Because it's a really hard road. And if you're going to do it, you need to take it seriously. And you're going to be missing out on things that a lot of kids your age are doing. You're going to be working weekends and nights. And, I was like, that's what I want to do. So being the business guy, both my parents supported me in everything I did. I was so lucky that they just kind of let my dreams run wild.
That's so great.
And so he said, okay, well, let's start figuring out places we can get you to sing. And so I would just start performing in the living room. I perform anywhere we count at, in my small town of Lufkin, at little county fairs, anywhere that I could get my foot on a stage. And
there's a lot of bodies moving around these places, right?
Right. And my dad would just take a little video camcorder and film me, and then he'd put the videos together and package up hard copy, send it on out to all these Texas country reviews at the time.
That was so smart.
Yeah. All these small towns had country opry houses.
Right.
And they all had their own built-in bands, and on the weekends they would put together these variety show type of things. And so you had to audition to get in, and then they accepted you. You get to go sing there on the weekends.
That must have been fun, and especially having a pro band just waiting for you, right?
It was incredible, and it was a big thing for a really young girl.
I know. I know. I got up on the stage in my church at 9, and I did plays for a few years, so that's when I got started. But that was a huge deal to me to be able to do that. To watch people respond to what you're emoting. It's rare that someone gets that much experience at that young of age.
Yeah.
So by the time you're 15, you get a record deal.
Yeah. So through the years of my dad basically sending my tapes and videos of me singing to anybody, and I had recorded a little demo at the time, and he had sent it out to anybody and everybody, and people, it was kind of weird. It worked, people caught on, and then some people would send what they had to other people and say, oh, see this little girl, and some producers out of Philadelphia had heard about me, and I just heard they were coming to Houston to one of my performances. I really didn't know what they wanted, what their interest in me was.
Were you nervous?
Yeah, I was definitely nervous because I think it was more this like not knowing what they wanted. I knew that they were producers and they had worked with Britney Spears. They had done a lot of Boyz II Men stuff. They had worked with Pink.
That's some heavy hitters.
Yeah, and they had done a lot of stuff, and I just got up there and kind of, did my thing, which, at the time I didn't have a band. I was just singing to backup karaoke tracks, basically, and singing covers. And so I did the show, didn't hear from him for a couple weeks. And I was like, well, and one day they called my dad, and I remember my dad coming in the house and said, hey, sit down for a second. And he's like, so those producers that came to see you, they want to fly you up to Philly and put you in the studio and have you demo some songs. And I was like, oh my gosh. Yeah. And they're like, we're going to be working on a Boyz II Men studio. And I was like, what? 15. I think it was 14 at the time. Yeah.
The dream's coming true.
Yeah. And I'm like, when I got there, I started demoing some songs and I stayed for a while. And they basically revealed to me this vision of that they were working to put together a 3-girl pop group. And at the time, I don't think like Destiny's Child had been formed yet, or NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, but those were all being formed at the same time I was being formed. Right. So that was kind of their goal.
Right. And you get in and you go to Philly and you meet the 2 girls and you're there for like 3 or 4 years, right?
It was supposed to be a summer. Yeah, it was supposed to be a summer. I had just finished my freshman year of high school. I was 15 years old, and I was going for the summer, was going to come back, be done. We were to cut the demos, do all that. But it quickly developed into a lot bigger thing than I think we all thought it would be. We started working with some really big writers. Right. We started having choreographers for dance routines, as they did with pop groups then. And
it wasn't just one thing they were grooming you.
Right. We started going to New York in the weekends.
But you already had all the dancing and stuff, so like you're ready for it. Like you were there for a reason.
Yeah. So I said, you know what? I was like, I'm not going to go back to school. I couldn't leave after the summer because the ball was rolling, and I went back to school. That would mess everything up. So I dropped out of high school.
That's right.
Decided to homeschool myself.
And
I moved there. So I left home when I was 15, and I stayed until I was 18. Yeah.
I'm so impressed with how you were sticking with your vision from such an early age, and you're getting this far. And you, okay, I'm gonna quit school. Because I'm doing this.
Right.
And that's what you do when you get to that place.
Yeah.
And it's working and it's developing, and now you're getting to the songs are starting to be written and recorded.
Yeah, definitely.
And it's coming together.
Yeah, and it was really, it was a super exciting time. We were starting to get, interest from Sony and Jive, and we came really close. We met with president of Jive multiple times, and we were close. We were singing in their offices. It looked like the deal was going to happen. But what I didn't really understand at the time, being so young, was the whole industry itself behind the scenes was collapsing.
Yes. Exactly.
It happened. This is when internet radio or
Yeah.
Napster and everything started coming out. 9/11 happened. The world completely changed. Not just, the music business, the
That's
world
right.
in general.
That's
and
right.
record labels started collapsing left and right. And they weren't suddenly were not signing people to these big deals anymore.
Yeah, that was the end of the big deals.
It was. And I just started feeling like...
But you put all your life into it,
I know. It was a hard decision to give it up. But one thing that my parents and I agreed on whenever they decided to let me do this was that when I was 18 years old and when it came time for going to college, if this was not where it needed to be, and really on the move successfully, then I would go to school.
Right.
And I wanted it. That's all I did from a young age.
Right.
I would wake up, write, record, dance, repeat. I had no social life. It was just, and it was a lot from a young age, and I was burnt out.
I'm really glad that some of that reminds me of like how Jodie Foster did it. Like she had this like a really big epic career, and then she went to college.
Yeah.
And I'm glad for you that you got to do that.
Me too. It was one of the best times of my life, for sure.
Nice.
Yeah.
And you weren't even like you'd go out to clubs, but you weren't like, I got to get up there and sing. I think that was so important for you.
Yeah. And I don't even think like I met, a whole new group of friends and I don't even think I told them that I sang or anything for like
Wow.
the first year or so,
Right. Like you'd identified with it so much, and you're like, it feels really good not to
Correct.
identify with it.
Yeah. And especially coming from a small town, it kind of just felt like that's all I was. That's what people knew me as.
Right.
It was my complete identity. And I wanted to just start over, and I wanted to have fun and stay up late and hang with my girlfriends and, cut loose.
Sororities, right?
And do all the things that I, felt like I missed out on, saw a lot of my friends doing like in high school and
Right.
stuff. And I really did want a great education. And
Yes.
I'd never been to Austin for a significant amount of time, but I knew that if I wanted to get back into music, I'd heard Austin was a great place to do it.
Right.
So that made my decision. I never visited the campus of University of Texas, but that made my decision. I was like, okay, I'm just going to go there. It's crazy when I think back how young. It's a good thing I was young, because it's like when you're young, you're fearless. Like if I was making these decisions now, they wouldn't happen.
Yeah, that's absolutely.
I'd be too scared.
I think it's that way for a reason, so that you will go do it. 'Cause
Exactly.
You got to go for it. But if you knew what it was going to take to do it, you might never start in the first place.
Right, exactly. Yeah.
So you got a degree?
Yeah, in communications.
Nice.
And actually, my last semester of college, University of Texas has a program in LA. You get to go, if you're interested in radio, film, music, you get to go and study and take classes there while you're also getting an internship in your
Yes, good.
field
That
of
was good.
choice.
Nice.
Yeah. So I thought, you know what? I miss music, but maybe I just want to be on the business side. I got an internship at Sony in the publicity department.
Wow.
It was really cool. Got to do some great album listening sessions for some really, really big people. But it really happened, dawned on me fast. I did not want to be on the business side. I had to be on the creative side.
There it was.
And I was like, yeah.
Nice.
It's like, I have to go back to music. What am I doing? So I met a producer out there who helped me meet some people and create another EP.
Mm-hmm.
And I brought it back to Austin. And this is actually when somebody had a friend of my mom's knew the Vallejo brothers and said, well, let me see if I can help you. I'll introduce you to them. So I met AJ and Alex and told them, I'm going to keep writing, want to make an album. And actually started working with Alex first.
That's right. I like that part of the story.
So Alex Vallejo and I actually worked on a couple of songs. But in the meantime, I got the crazy idea to go and audition for American Idol.
Oh, yeah.
So,
Wait, who convinced you to do that?
Yeah, so-
Who convinced you to do it?
My husband.
It wasn't your husband yet, right?
What?
Was he not your husband yet?
Oh, he wasn't my husband yet.
Okay, yeah,
no,
that's what I remember you telling me.
It was a guy I was hardly dating. But he heard me sing, and people had been trying to get me to do American Idol for years.
Right.
And I said, absolutely not. Like,
Right.
not doing it. And he came home and he had printed out a stack of papers this big with like the fine print and where they were doing it and how to get involved. And he's like, you should do it. And I was like, okay. At the time, there's only 2 places to audition left. And one of them was Puerto Rico. My dad said, well, look, let's make it a dad-daughter vacation trip. Let's go. If nothing comes of it, we have fun. We go to the beach.
Cool.
And
Your dad's cool, man.
Yeah, so that's what we did. We went to Puerto Rico. And I auditioned, and
It's like a cattle call.
complete cattle call. Like now, after being on the show, I learned every cameraman, every person that worked there basically was at an audition desk.
Right.
So you're singing in front of, people that make no decisions down the line.
Right.
But I got through, and
Nice.
they said, "Okay, you can go home now." And I was like, "What?"
Right.
And I was like, "Okay, it's like all the way back to Texas." I was like, "Isn't there more auditions?" And they're like, "No, we'll let you know when that happens. We'll fly you back out here." I was like, "I got to come back." I was like, "Okay."
No, I mean, it's like, wow, we just came a long way out of our way.
For like
Are you guys shelling out for that or what?
Yeah, I was like, we were kind of, So went home and waited a few months, and then they flew me back out there. And then I went through probably another handful of auditions before.
And always like a couple months in between and flying somewhere else. And
Yeah. And then got to see the celebrity judges, made it through that round, sent me
Right.
back home again, said next time we'll fly you out to Hollywood, LA. And went out to Hollywood Week, which is just as grueling as they make it seem on the TV show.
Right.
It really was. And I know why they do it is because they want to push you to exhaustion because it makes good TV.
Yep.
And also, it makes people start fighting. Your voices start wearing out. You start getting sick because you haven't slept. I mean, it makes
Yeah.
great TV, but it also
Yeah.
shows people that are going to push through when times get really hard. So,
Yeah, well put.
yeah.
I'm glad you said that all out loud.
Yeah. So, secrets behind American Idol. Yeah.
Monkey business.
Yeah, it's monkey business. But I kept making it through each round, and I was shocked every time I did. Shocked.
That's cool. But so you're like, okay, man, okay, I'm
Okay, like how far am I actually? I'm not gonna make the show. I'll probably get really close, maybe. But then when
you finally.
Yeah. Well, they flew us once you make it through Hollywood Week. They make it seem like they told you you've made the show at the end of Hollywood Week, which is not true.
Mm-hmm.
The show is different now. This back then. Send you home again, fly you back out there, and they bring you in individually, one by one, to tell you. And I remember watching my friends that I thought could sing circles around me. I mean, they actually could, and they were getting cut. And I was like, what in the world? Like, if they're not going to make it on the show, I'm not making it on the show.
Mm-hmm.
But I did.
Wow.
And it was the most shocking thing. And I was really scared.
I don't think it's just about a voice.
Well, correct. And I quickly realized, and that's when my first was like, this is a TV show. And they basically made it very clear to me if I was going to be on the show and do well on it, I was going to sing country music. And so I feel like I was cast as, they have the rock singer, they have all different kinds of people on the show. It'd be boring if everyone was the same, right? But I do feel like that season I was cast as the blonde country singer from Texas.
Right, exactly.
So.
Did you have other ideas for songs and then they said you got to go down this road?
Yes.
What was the song you wanted to do?
I grew up being like a big Otis Redding fan, and
nice.
And I wanted to sing "Sitting on the Dock of the Bay" was one, and I wanted to show them I had more to my voice than just what they thought. I could do more with it, but that was no,
Wow. Well,
not approved.
I'm gonna stop there and let's do a second song.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So this song is called "Hate Myself for Loving You," and I always say the best songs just write themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of my songs on my album have a lot of production behind them, but this song is just really stripped down and personally means a lot. So it's called "Hate Myself for Loving You." It's a game of love and war. Don't even know what we're fighting for. The fire that we lit just burns us down. We leave a trail of ashes all over town. I hate myself for loving you, 'cause I know I shouldn't, but I do. You're no good for me, and I'm no good for you. I hate myself for loving you. When it's good, it's still so bad. It's the kind of love that makes you sad. When the one thing you want so damn bad is the one thing you know that you'll never have. I hate myself for loving you, 'cause I know I shouldn't, but I do. You're no good for me, and I'm no good for you. I hate myself for loving you. It's time to miss when you love somebody like a drug and you just gotta get your fix. It's a fairy tale and a tragedy, story of you and me. I hate myself for loving you. I know I shouldn't, but I do. You're no good for me, and I'm no good for you. I hate myself for loving you. I hate myself for loving you. I hate myself for loving you. Thank you.
Wow. Wow, that was really nice.
Thank you.
We're going to come out of this American Idol monkey business. So while they were holding you up, you had to wait a whole year, you know.
Yeah. Waited a whole year, but the no performing. They had complete control of my website, my Facebook.
Right.
Could not perform.
That's pretty wild. That's pretty wild that
Yeah.
they do that to a young artist.
I don't think that they
Do it anymore?
I hope not. I don't know how.
I mean, I'm not trying to sit here and rag that, but that's
Yeah.
not good to hear.
Well, it's hard because they, use those tools to capitalize on the success from the show. The reason people go on the show, whether they win or not, is to get their name out there, and,
Right.
and I mean, of course, everyone wants to win, but if you don't, there's still good things that can come of it.
Yeah, a lot of people that didn't win,
Yeah.
got on to do some excellent
But,
things. So,
when you can't put out music and you can't perform.
that's the part I don't like. It's
Yeah.
like you just hijacked my life. But
Yeah.
you were fortunate.
Yes.
That because you were back here and AJ
Right.
and you had already made the connection. It was
Right.
You're not. You can write and record, and when the year's done, it's time to go.
Correct. So that's what I did during that year. I came back to Austin and started working more with AJ instead of Alex, and writing. And I recorded my first full-length album.
Cool.
So
Great.
once my contract was up with Idol, I was able to release that album.
Now, and what is it called?
It was just Kendall Beard, all around girl. Yeah.
All Around Girl.
Yeah.
Now, how did you feel about that? That you finally
Yeah.
got, to me, I feel like that was the thing you were actually looking for.
Yes. It was so exciting to release that album. I'm super proud of the album. As a artists, and I know I'm not the only one who does this, you spend so much time and dedication to creating those songs and recording them and going back and listening over and over, remixing, mixing, listening over. And then you put the album out in its entirety and it's like you never listen to it again. And I just actually recently went back in and listened to it. And I definitely see a ton of growth from my first album to my second album. But I think I had kind of written off my first album as being more, I don't know. I don't think until I went back and listened to it that I had the appreciation for it.
I know what you're saying. You listen to it a couple years later, and you, if nothing else, you appreciate who you were at that age and what you were able to do.
Yeah, and I started thinking about how young I was, and I was like, man, it's kind of, I was impressed with myself, and it's a great reflection of who I was then and the time, and it's also really cool to have an album so many years down the road and see how I've grown as an artist, how my vocals have changed, how my writing has changed, how my style has matured and evolved.
Yeah.
But yes, I was very, very proud of that album.
That is the fun, when you stick with it.
Yeah.
When you really commit to the art, which you did from the start, and then you got to take the break, and then you stick with it.
Exactly.
And then you start to finally be where you're supposed to be.
Yes, exactly.
So you get this one done. What time? About 2015? Is that what we're talking about? 14
was my first. Yeah.
Did you tour your record?
So this is also how AJ and I got closer. So I said, okay, I'm going to start performing, and I think I, started trying to book gigs around here and playing, and AJ's like, cool, well, you got a band? I was like, I'm gonna put one together. And he's like, do you have a guitar player? And I was like, no, you? You're gonna, and he's like, wait, but I'm in a band, I'm busy. And so he actually started as my supposed to be temporary guitar player until I found one, but because he knew all the songs.
Right.
And that turned into more of a permanent thing before Love and Chaos. Before I knew, he was basically part of my band and going everywhere with me.
Yeah, so it was really a partnership at that point.
Right. And, I didn't play the guitar at all at that point.
Did he really, did he push you to do that?
Yeah. I mean, he pushed me, but I think I also, it was something I wanted to learn myself.
Yeah, of course. You've never needed any pushing from anyone.
Yeah, and honestly, if anything, I pushed myself enough to learn the basics, to learn basic chords, to have an instrument with me to write with, to be able to actually bring something to a producer or somebody in studio and say, hey, this is the song. Versus back then, I would just create the lyrics, the melody, sing it, and basically have them play what they think those chords were and say yes or no until it was how I heard it in my head.
Right.
And
so that was a really nice projection for you to get to the guitar in your hand.
Sometimes I kick myself for not pushing myself harder when I had time before kids and stuff to be better.
You have kids.
Better than, But, I read something, and the other day, and it said, instead of saying, I can't do something or this isn't happening for me, try saying, it's not a priority. Not saying it in a bad way, but it helps you put things in perspective.
Yes. And
I think there's so many times I've beaten myself up for not getting better on the guitar in different areas when I had the time. But now instead of beating myself up, it's like I can't make that a priority right now. I've learned enough to get by with my writing, to play basic chords on the songs in our shows, but not doing any soloing or anything like that. But, what my priority is now, and I have to, where I am in my life, I have to pick and choose. I have 2 kids.
Yeah.
They're my priority. My band, Love and Chaos is my priority. Writing is my priority. Being a wife and mother and at home, keeping my home unit
That's
together.
Exactly right.
And between all those moving parts, it's hard to find time to prioritize anything else right now. You know, when I get any free time and alone, quiet time, I go and sit in my bathroom and I write.
Nice. How is is it progressing the songwriting even more?
Definitely.
Of
I
course.
mean, it's really changing a lot from where it's been, just because of age and life experience.
That's it. It's strong.
Yeah.
It's real strong.
I love writing. It feels like it's such an outlet. And I have like creative spurts come to me, and I try to recognize those and take advantage when I have them. Because some weeks there's too much going on with my kids. I'm up too early. The baby was up all night. I don't have that creative.
And you can't, but
juice.
you can't beat yourself up for it when you can't give. You know, I had to struggle a lot with that in my life because you think, I'm not giving it enough. I'm not giving enough because you think something more should have happened. I think maybe that's the problem. And then how much beating myself up can I do?
Right.
Look, I like this part of my life, but I like this part of my life and this part. So I need to just have them all.
Yeah.
And I hope that's okay with everybody.
Exactly. I've just had to like learn to accept what I can do and try to do what I can do to the best of my ability.
That's it. And it keeps expanding and growing.
Exactly.
And I mean, you have the two full length on your own. And then you have with Love and Chaos, you have 2 EPs.
Yes.
And you're working on a full length.
Yes. Our full length album is going to be released this year, 2023.
2023.
And it is all written and recorded. We're going back in and mixing and putting the final touches on everything. So that's going to be a huge accomplishment when that comes out, because I think AJ and I have put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into that album.
Over the years, too.
Yes.
Like, how the coming together, he's in a band, okay, I'll be your part-time band. And it just develops and blossoms, and you guys songwriting gets better and better. Now now you're going to present the full length. And it's great. It's so great to have you here. Is there anything else you'd like to say?
No, I'm just happy to be here, and it's so great to. It means so much that you guys reached out to me. You guys has had so many incredible artists on here, and just to even be in part of something with the names that have been on here is just such an honor.
Thank you so much for saying that. But like, I'm honored that you came on to be a part of it, because you are right in that exact group.
Thank you.
Wonderful,
so much.
Talented. We can close you out with one more.
Okay, let's do it.
All right.
So this next song is speaking of AJ Vallejo and Love and Chaos. I've had him here accompanying me today.
Thanks for being here again, AJ.
I really appreciate it.
Yeah, me too, brother.
Yeah. This next song is one of the newer songs that I've written, and one of the great things about Love and Chaos is we both bring songs in to we write together. We sit down and write from scratch together, but a lot of times we write on our own, and we'll bring it to the other person and say, hear the song. Is this a song that you think is going to vibe as a Love and Chaos song?
Right.
Do you want to put your touches on this, or do you think this should just be a Kendall Beard song?
Right.
So this is one that I recently brought to AJ, and we have decided that it's going to be a Love and Chaos song.
Fantastic.
So it will be on the new album.
All right.
I knew it from the first time that I saw you. The truth is that I was missing a piece you were missing too. Oh, and I wore my heart there on my sleeve. But with you came the weight of the world and the fear losing everything. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Tumbling, crumbling down. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling crumbling. I fell into your ocean, lost in you, like a tidal wave crashing down on me out of the blue. Oh, I was sinking down and you rescued me. Pull me up into your arms. Now I can't shake the fear that you let go of me. Oh, you could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Crumbling, crumbling down. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Crumbling, crumbling, crumbling. Finally, it feels like everything in the world was right. The price I'd pay, the fear that I can't shake, is a risk I'll take. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Crumbling, crumbling down. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Crumbling, crumbling down. Oh, this could all come crumbling down. This could all come crumbling down. Crumbling, crumbling, crumbling. Thank you. Thank you.
Oh, thanks so much, man. That was I can't wait to hear the rest of that. That was hard.
Yes, we're excited
Strong
about
like
that.
bull.
Yes.
loveandchaosmusic.com, right?
That's right.
That's loveandchaosmusic.com. Thanks, AJ, man. AJ Vallejo. You can go to his thing too, by the way.
Absolutely.
And he did one of these with us.
He has
If you
his
haven't
whole
watched
other
that,
episode.
please watch it. I loved that one.
Yes.
But Kendall, man, I'm glad we
I
finally got to
know.
have you here.
Made it happen.
And do this, and your story's incredible, and all the success to you in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for having me part of
Thank
this. It's
you.
amazing. Thanks.
All right.